My whole life, I always knew I was special. Even with no remainders, I could always move a decimal. Money on my mind while the girls that made un beso. Hustlers in my blood and it's running through my vessels. Just trying to clear the threshold, just trying to make a way. In my race against time, I could see an early grave. School to prison pipeline, 12 years a slave. Suspension and detention is conditioned for a cage.
The next topic we're going to discuss on Boxing Bros is Step Aside Gate. Now, Anthony Joshua dropped a video where he said that he's never going to he never was considering step aside, stop listening to what people say. And then you hear it was a real thing. Let's just take a look at some of these videos and we're going to discuss Step Aside Gate. So the first video we're going to look at is comments from Tyson Fury. And this video appears courtesy of IFL TV. You can subscribe to IFL TV. Here's what Tyson Fury had to say.
You're some bodybuilder, please. I'll annihilate them. So, just for everybody to know, the only reason this fight fell out of bed was because AJ wanted more money last minute. And he thought that I was going to just give him an extra 5 million because 15 million wasn't good enough. You're too greedy, mate. And that's the only reason. There's no other reasons. Usyk will get his fight with me. Not a problem. When he's beat Joshua again. And Joshua has no chance in fighting for the Undisputed Championship. Do you, Dawson?
What was your reaction when Frank...
All right, so that's what Tyson Fury had to say about the step aside. Said it fell through because 15 million wasn't enough for AJ. AJ wanted an additional 5. And here's what Eddie Hearn said in a meeting or in an interview about the step aside.
Can you clear anything up with venues, times, contracts, all the rest of it with Joshua and Usyk?
Yeah, I mean, that was obviously about 10 days ago when it all fell through the other chat. We got onto Alex Krasik and said, right, let's go. You know, we need to get up and running. I'd like to do it in the UK. We've had quite a few offers from around the world as well. We'll meet with those guys next week, but ready to move forward with a May fight, I think. You know, an AJ, I know there's been a lot of chat, like, you know, step aside and stuff like that. I was a believer, being quite honest, that the step aside and the whole deal to fight the winner of that fight was quite a sensible move. Yeah. But honestly, he never wanted to do it. And I actually, in the end, sort of convinced him it was half a good idea. Yeah. And now he probably thinks, I wish I would have shut my mouth to start with because it never happened.
All right. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Conspiracy G. What's your reaction to Step Aside Gate? AJ saying don't listen to what the people say. Tyson Fury saying he thought it was a deal, 15 million last minute. AJ wanted an additional 5. Eddie Hearn saying he thought it was sensible, but it never happened. So what's your reaction to all that, G?
All right, so looking at both videos, right? First, Tyson Fury in this video looked like he was lying. You know what I mean? Like he was bending the truth a bit. You know, like in our previous segment, when Tyson Fury was talking, I believed him. In this one, I'm like, he kind of got the side-eye smirk going and everything. So I'm like, there might be some fibbery going on in like Tyson Fury talking about this 15 million, but he wanted an extra 5 for 20 million and stuff like that. So I don't know if I really fully believe Tyson Fury, but I'll say this. I do think AJ was considering the step aside. But the way he does it, don't say anything. Just have your promoter talk. So then you can just come out with plausible deniability. Like, yo, I didn't say that. I didn't want it. You know what I mean? And it's like, hey, well, all we've heard talk was Eddie Hearn. And Eddie Hearn, to be fair, he's doing a great job as a promoter when he's still protecting AJ. He's saying AJ didn't want it, but I felt that it was a reasonable request to explore, which it is a reasonable request, right? That's a lot of money. Like, why wouldn't you think about that? So that's why I'm like, I think AJ's also lying, you know, but however, you could give AJ the benefit of the doubt, you know, because we haven't heard anything directly from AJ at that time. We only heard it from Eddie Hearn. So I like to believe, you know, there were talks about step aside so Tyson Fury could fight Usyk, right? But AJ was like, nah, unless the bag is big, right? And so they're trying to figure that out. They couldn't guarantee $20 million for AJ, so it fell through. So then now it's back to Tyson Fury versus Dillian White, Usyk versus Anthony Joshua. So I think that's what really happened.
All right, dollar bill.
Yeah, this is how it happened. You know what I'm saying? AJ never was going to step aside. Eddie Hearn was trying to persuade him. Like, hey, man, listen, you can get this bag, you know what I'm saying? And then we come back, double up, and get another bag, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm going to try to get this bag over here. You know what I'm saying? So we get this bag to put you on hold while I get this bag over here, and then we come back and double up and get the other bag, and then we all getting all the bags. You know what I'm saying? And AJ was like, nah, I ain't going for it. He was like, how about I sprinkle it another $5 million? He was like, I don't know. I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
He's like,
I don't know. Gotta go talk to them to see if they can throw the extra 5 in. And he was like, nah, we ain't doing it. Hey, they ain't doing it. But then it's often. That's how I think it happened. That's how I think it went down. And that's my story. And I'm sticking to it.
100.
You know what? It's plausible. It's plausible. That's how it went down. All right, TBE.
I haven't seen an M in my life yet, like a million. I was saying, but because $20 million, step aside money for a fight, that is crazy. Like you paying a man $20 million to just like sit back and watch two people get beat up, and then he steps in. But a step aside game. Yes, they were. AJ entertained the thought of stepping aside, but they did not meet his price. And every man has a price. If they was to throw the money he wanted, he would have stepped aside. And I wouldn't be mad at him for that. Like, who's not gonna take $20 million and step away to let somebody get a cut in line? Every time I go to barbershop, some people be like, y'all pay for your haircut if you let me go before you. Okay, you know. So if you're gonna pay me this much, 20 is the price, and 20 M's is what my man wanted, and $20 is some haircuts out here. And hey, AJ, I ain't mad at you at all.
TBE.
Yeah,
That's fine. If someone wants to pay for your haircut, you let them go.
yeah.
But what if you're in a rush and you can afford your own haircut? You still let them go?
Nah. You know,
So
it depends on the time.
Hold up. So you said no, you wouldn't. Isn't there a rush to become the first undisputed heavyweight champion since Lennox Lewis?
Yeah, there is.
All right, but go ahead.
Yeah, there is. And I respect that, and that's why I feel like AJ doesn't want to step aside, because he had this goal and he wants to be the first to accomplish his goal, and he wants to make history. He doesn't want to be undisputed after so-and-so took the belts and was undisputed before him. He had this goal. He's been on the missions for a long time now. He's accumulated a lot of belts. He's accumulated majority of the belts, and now the last fight he has to regain his titles against Usyk, and I'm fully confident that AJ is prepared for this match, and he wants to take on Fury. So, you know, there's no more bumps in the road at this point that I know of. But I'm not gonna speak for my man till my man get in the ring. So yeah, I just spoke. But after this, at the moment, I'm not speaking for my man until he gets in the ring.
Yo, but Nick, don't you think that if in fact AJ wasn't gonna entertain step aside?
I'm not speaking for my man until he gets in the ring.
I'm just posing a question. That because you're making it seem like he wasn't trying to have no step asides at all. But if that's the case, then why was his step aside talk for so long? He could have easily have dead it a long time.
Parties like, hey, here's a number, and then the number keeps going up, and the number keeps going up.
Then that means you're entertaining step aside.
I would say I agree. He's the entertaining step aside. Everybody has their price, but at the end of the day, it wasn't what he wanted. And
not
honestly,
everybody.
if if you have $20 million to go with Akam Barak right now, you're not taking us. You're not going. If they offer you $20 million to go with Akam Barak with Boxing Bros, you're not moving.
I'm going with the bros.
I'm saying, wow, Ned.
Wow. I'm just saying. I love my bros. But
I'm coming with the bros.
I ain't going for bros.
I started with the bros. I'm going with the bros.
Thanks.
Hey, if they offer him $20 million to go to Ark and Barak,
and
Man,
TVE.
how much would the other network
Barack, and
offer?
TVE.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm just saying, Eddie, yo, you hear my price, man. Let me stop.
That's 20
I
mil.
love my
You
brothers.
said, Eddie,
I
you
love
heard
my
my
bros.
price. You hear
I
that,
love my
dude?
bros. I love
Yeah.
my bros. I'm just
Listen,
saying.
that's 20 mil. You know what I'm saying? I don't need all that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm good. We can have 5 apiece. You did?
That's what
Right.
I'm saying. It doesn't like it
5
for
apiece.
me, that's not a good example because if they offered anyone here 20 million to go on their show, I would be happy about it. And then I would be like, yo, if you can still do this show, you can do that show and this show. Like how Sean Porter will call a fight, still do his own thing. You don't have to be limited to one show. That's one thing. And you dig what I'm saying? You could still use the bread you get to invest in your own show to make your own show bigger. So I mean, it's still not
That
the
ain't
same
never
example.
been that just ain't never been my style, bro. You know me, when I first got my first little bit of money, I broke it down with everybody. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's
the
not.
person
That's
I
just not
am.
how.
I hear you.
That's not
I
how
hear
we
you.
get down, bro. Because
Yeah,
like to me, it's no fun to do it by yourself.
Yourself,
Like,
exactly. You know what I'm
Like,
saying? What's the
like,
six?
what good is it to gain the world and lose your soul in the
You're
process?
right. You're right. You're right. You're
What
right.
makes this show fun for me is that I get to do it with my brothers.
That's
Like
what it
I
is.
can't be just up here by myself, like talking about boxing. I would feel
can't
like
just-
weird. Like
Exactly.
you know what I mean?
We all gotta look fly. But I can't do it with just me. Nah, we got, you know what I'm saying? That's
Yo,
why
Natty,
when
man,
y'all get a brand new car, I celebrate like it's my brand new car. You dig what I'm saying?
Yeah. You're right. You're right. You got that.
I raised my son wrong, man.
Anyways, Eddie Hearn, Ned's price is 20 million. Go ahead, Ned.
But yeah, gee, even if he was entertained to step aside, I feel like deep down inside he was never gonna take it because he's been. I feel I've said this plenty of times on the show before. AJ set a goal. He wanted this goal. He wanted to achieve this goal. He wanted to be the first one to do it. Nobody in the heavyweight division wanted to do this goal until AJ got on this undisputed train. And now everybody acting like that. And they're the first to create this idea. And I respect AJ on his decision. You ain't had to step aside. You could entertain. You could flirt a bit even when you got the ring on. You know, it is what it is. But, you know, still all my people who were married, stay faithful and stay honest.
You saying faithful to AJ.
What in the world?
He's like, yo, I gotta stay faithful to his back. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, man.
That's like, you know, when you're giving like a speech and the crowd's not into it, so you gotta say something that you just know, like the Yankees suck. Oh!
Oh, good.
You know what's funny to me? Like somebody having to feel bad about considering $15-20 million. Like, how dare you consider that money? Here's the deal, right? I feel like if anybody has earned the right to take step aside money, it would be Anthony Joshua. And the reason is because he's had the most difficult fights back to back to back to back, which isn't an easy thing to fight the guys that he's fought back to back to back to back. And you know this because that's the reason why nobody stays undisputed champion. To stay undisputed champion means you have to fight mandatory after mandatory after mandatory, and then you have to fight a champion occasionally, right? So here's what happens. For AJ's sake, he had to fight champions, then he had to fight the undisputed. I mean, he had to fight champions, then he had to fight the mandatory to keep the belt so he can go for undisputed. That's a lot of top tier fighters. You don't get to pick in betweens that are easy. You don't get Otto Varlins, right? You don't get Tom Schwartz in between when you're Anthony Joshua because you got 3 belts and Pulev won his shot. You got 3 belts and Povetkin won his shot. You can say what you want about those guys, but they are still better than Otto Varlin and Tom Schwartz, right? Luis Ortiz looked like hot garbage the other day. Right? I mean, who would win between Luis Ortiz and Pulev? I honestly don't know. But I'd pick Povetkin to beat Luis Ortiz, especially the Povetkin that beat Dillian White. You understand? He fought Dillian White. He fought Joseph Parker. He fought all these guys back to back to back to back. That takes its toll on you. So if AJ was going to say, why not let these guys actually finally fight each other and get some wear and tear on their body? Let them bang it out the way I've been banging it out. You know what I'm saying? Fighting all elite competition back to back to back. What's wrong with that? See, I think what happens is people like to spin the narrative and they say like, well, he considered step aside money, so he didn't want to fight. If he didn't want to fight, he could have got out of the fight by relinquishing the WBO belt. He never had to keep that belt. He could have just gave it to Usyk. He took the fight and he lost to Usyk. So now you're talking about this man regaining the belt in an immediate rematch. I done already told you before. There's only 4 other people to do it. There's only 4 people that ever do it. Said Floyd Patterson, Muhammad Ali, Lennox Lewis, and Anthony Joshua. So you want him to do it again. You know how hard it is to regain the title in an immediate rematch? Deontay Wilder tried. He came this close too. But he didn't do it because it's not easy to do. So if only 4 people in history have ever done it, and Anthony Joshua's already one who's already done it, you want him to do it twice. You want him to pull a rabbit out of a hat twice. It's a difficult thing to do. So if he's going to consider step aside money and step aside, I can't fault him for that. Listen to what I said. I can't fault him for that. Now, can I have my opinion about it? Yeah. And my opinion would be, you know, he didn't want to go back in there with Usyk immediately. That would be my opinion. If he took step aside money, yes, that would be my opinion. But is that wrong? Because he steps aside for one fight, then he gets the winner of Fury Usyk. So he's not running away. He's simply delaying. He's not saying I'm not going to fight Usyk because Usyk beats Fury. He got to fight Usyk again. He's simply saying, and you can spin it however you want, right? But $15 million is $15 million. So I'll close with this. I honestly believe that Anthony Joshua wants to fight Usyk again in a rematch. And I believe that because he's looking for trainers. He's out there. He's been saying like, yo, I want a rematch. I'm changing things. His mindset's different. I'm going to tell you who I think doesn't want the immediate rematch, and it's Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn admitted it to you, said, I convinced him it's a sensible deal. I've been trying to convince him. I think Eddie Hearn is afraid that Anthony Joshua is going to lose again. So he's thinking, I can get 10% or whatever his cut is of a step aside, and I can get money from this before I cash out on AJ when Usyk beats him. I think that's his mindset now. Because I think back in the days, he used to think Anthony Joshua was unbeatable. I think he used to think Anthony Joshua was going to just walk through everyone. But I think now he's starting to have doubts. So I think now Eddie's like, yo, let's get the bag. Let's get the bag. Let's get the bag. Where before Eddie was on it with AJ too. AJ will walk. AJ will march everyone. AJ will mop everyone. Now he's sitting there like, I think it's a sensible deal. I don't think Eddie Hearn before the Andy Ruiz fight would ever say that he thinks Anthony Joshua would take a step aside money is a sensible deal. He would have said, I got my guy and I put my guy up against anybody. I don't hear that. So I think that's the person who's nervous. I think Eddie Hearn's palms are sweaty. He don't want to be sitting there ringside for that rematch with Usyk Joshua because he might have a heart attack if Joshua loses again. So I think
I would. You know what I'm saying?
Shame on you, Eddie. That's all I would say. Shame on you, Eddie.
So I really do think AJ, I think the fighter in AJ is saying, yo, I got pride, F the money. So when he asked for additional 5, I think AJ probably threw out a number he didn't think he was going to get. Say, yeah, 15 million. I'll think about it. Eddie Hearn came back, said, we got 15 million. He said, oh, you got 15? Well, now I want 20. Right? You know what I mean? It's just like, bro, you know, at some point, you got to stand up and have some pride. 20 million sound good to us, but trust me, AJ is good. What 20 million is to us is not to AJ. Yeah. So some things are worth, you're like, what would you pay $20 million for? Right? AJ would give up $20 million so he can fight Usyk again. And I believe that.
Shit. Hey, AJ's trying to teach y'all a lesson. All money ain't good money. Let us know how you
Amen.
feel in the comment section. Please
Amen.
subscribe. Check us out on Instagram and Twitter. And please check out our podcast on all major streaming services. You know who you rocking with. It's the Boxing Bros.
Lord forgive me for my sins.
Yo, what's wrong? Yeah.